This afternoon, Ghana Union of Traders Association demands immediate suspension of the latest utility tariff increment announced by the PURC.
Also, lawyers for embattled Ashanti Regional Chair of the NPP, Bernardine Triboesiako, filed motion to adjourn judgments for their clients due to inadequate time to assess the records ahead of providing their written statements to the court.
Also this afternoon, we'll take you to Kumasi, where dredging exercise is underway to restore flow of two major rivers in the Atonsu community. It's News Central live on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano.
And I am Marina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. This afternoon, Deputy Minister of Finance Thomas Ampim Nyako says the Ghana Gold Board is helping curb gold smuggling and boost foreign exchange earnings. Speaking in Parliament, Ms. Ampim disclosed that between January 2025 and May of 2026, Gold Board purchased 135.8 metric tons of gold, with more than 135 metric tons sourced from the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. He said Gold Board spent about $16.1 billion on gold purchases during the period, including $9.8 billion in 2025, and generated over $10 billion in export revenue last year. According to him, the inflows from gold exports have contributed to the stability of the Ghana cedi while helping to reduce losses associated with gold smuggling.
Available reports, including from Reuters, indicates that Ghana lost about $11.4 billion between 2019 and 2023 through gold smuggling. The Gold Board is gradually reversing this bleeding. Mr. Speaker, on the source of supply, Gold Board's supply comes from two principal channels. First, the artisanal and small-scale mining sector, and second, the large-scale mining companies. Mr. Speaker, the Gold Board purchases and aggregates gold principally from the artisanal and small-scale mining sector through licensed buyers operating under the Gold Board licensing regime. As of 31st May 2026, Gold Board had licensed a total of 1,184 buyers. Mr. Speaker, from January 2025 to May 2026, the Gold Board purchased a total of 135.843 metric tons of gold, of which 135.221 metric tons were sourced from artisanal and small-scale mining sector. Mr. Speaker, last year, 2025, the Gold Board cumulatively purchased, aggregated and exported ASM gold totaling 104 metric tons, which generated in excess of $10 billion United States dollars for the country. This singular achievement of the Gold Board was critical in the appreciation of the Ghana cedi by about 41% against the US dollar in 2025, and in increasing foreign reserves from about $8.98 billion in December 2024 to $13.8 billion by end of December 2025, among others. Mr. Speaker, from January 2025 to May 2026, the Gold Board expended approximately $16.1 billion on the purchase of gold, of which $9.8 billion was used between January and December 2025.
Well, Ms. Ampim further told the legislature that government is pursuing policies to ensure the country's gold resources translate into tangible economic benefits, including stronger reserves, an improved national balance sheet, and greater economic sovereignty.
Mr. Speaker, the bigger policy point is that government is deliberately shifting Ghana from a regime where gold wealth was dispersed, underpriced, and smuggled. Through the Gold Board, we have a regime where gold is transparently aggregated, assayed, refined, exported and turned into foreign exchange and reserves for the Republic with visible and tangible benefits for the entire country. Mr. Speaker, to enhance regulatory compliance and sustainability, the Ghana Gold Board strengthened its collaboration with the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat to address illegal mining. Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasize that the Gold Board is not just about buying gold. It is about capturing Ghana's gold for Ghana's balance sheet, Ghana's reserves, and Ghana's economic sovereignty.
I will stay in Parliament, where the minority on the Energy Committee is questioning the rationale behind the 3.4% increase in electricity tariff announced by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, saying it will burden businesses and households. Deputy Ranking on the committee, Collins Adoma-Komensa, says the relentless increases since President Mahama took office smacks of betrayal, while adding that government has no justification for the increase, especially after the country's exit from the IMF. He's asking the PURC to publish a full mathematical basis for every tariff increase since January of 2025, further expressing shock at the new announcement in the face of the cedi strength, as well as drop in inflation and interest rates.
Today, with deep concern and a sense of betrayal on behalf of every Ghanaian who went to the polls in December 2024 and voted for change, for relief, and for a government that promised to ease the cost of living. On 22nd June 2026, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, announced yet another upward adjustment in electricity tariffs. A 3.49% increase effective 1st July 2026, with water tariffs also going up by 0.85%. This is the latest chapter in an unbroken story of tariff escalation under the John Mahama-led NDC administration. We remember the promises. The NDC campaigned loudly on reducing the cost of utilities, easing the burden on households, and fixing the energy sector. 18 months into their tenure, Ghanaians are paying 26.82% more for electricity than they were when President Mahama took the oath of office. This is a broken promise. Since the NDC government took office in January 2025, Ghanaians have faced a relentless cycle of utility tariff increases. The cumulative data paint a stark and indefensible picture. Quarter 2 of 2025 saw a 14.75% increase. Quarter 3 of 2025 saw a 2.45% increase. Quarter 4 of 2025 saw a 1.15% increase. Quarter 1 of 2026 saw a 9.8% increase. Quarter 2 of 2026 saw a reduction of 4.81%, and the latest quarter 3 2026 has seen a 3.49% increase. Cumulatively, we have 26.82% if you take out the quarter 2 reduction. Much talk accompanied the PURC second quarter 2026 announcement of a 4.81% reduction in electricity tariffs, effective April 1st, 2026. Government communicators, NDC foot soldiers, and sympathetic media were dispatched to sing the praises of President Mahama's economic turnaround. Ministers took to airwaves declaring victory. We cautioned them that this was not a policy achievement, but a quarterly technical adjustment driven entirely by a temporal appreciation of the Ghana cedi and a brief statistical dip in inflation. With this latest 3.49% increase taking effect on 1st July 2026, that supposed second quarter relief has been effectively erased within a single quarter of its announcement. The NDC's loudly talked about reduction has lasted exactly 91 days. Electricity tariffs now stand higher than they did before the so-called reduction. And water tariffs are also heading upwards by 0.85%. Ghanaians were given a temporary breather, only to have it snatched back. To put these numbers in context, since January 2025, electricity tariffs in Ghana have risen by a staggering cumulatively 26.82%. Over the same period, government awarded workers a meager 10% wage increase, less than a third of the tariff burden placed on those very same workers. The NDC came to power promising a 24-hour economy and reduced cost of living. What they have delivered is a 26.82% increase in the cost of keeping the lights on. Consider also what this means for industry. Ghana's manufacturers, processors, and small enterprises operate in one of the most tariff-burdened utility environments in West Africa. Every upward adjustment in electricity costs erodes their competitiveness, raises the cost of production, and ultimately pushes prices higher for the very consumer the NDC claims to be protecting. The 24-hour economy cannot run on a 26.82% more expensive electricity. Jobs cannot be created when the cost of powering a factory keeps climbing every quarter.
Still on tariffs, the Ghana Union of Traders Association is demanding that the PURC halt the proposed adjustment in electricity tariff, insisting that consumers should not be made to bear the cost of inefficiencies in the power sector. The call follows the PURC's announcement for an upward review in electricity tariffs, citing factors including exchange rate fluctuations, inflation, and rising fuel costs as reasons for the proposed increase.
The PURC's justifications do not reflect current economic realities. In a statement, the association noted that inflation has declined significantly over the past year, while fuel prices have fallen in recent months. It also argued that improvements in the cedi's performance should ease rather than increase cost pressures on utilities. President of GUTA, Clement Boateng, said the regulator should suspend the proposed increase and instead focus on addressing operational inefficiencies within the sector.
There are a lot of inefficiencies and waste as far as these utility companies, are concerned. So we think if they focus on the inefficiencies and the waste, that will even increase their revenue assurance, and there will be no need for them to, come up with increments now and then.
GUTA further argues that persistent inefficiencies, including system losses and waste within utility companies, should not be passed on to consumers and businesses through higher tariffs. The association warns that another increase in electricity costs could raise the cost of doing business and ultimately feed into higher prices for goods and services.
They have forgotten that this increment that they are calling for will add cost of production to the manufacturers, and then that will result in high prices of goods and services. We are of the view that the present tariffs that we are paying should be maintained, because it is just this January that they came out with an increment.
We're back here on the board again because it's important to walk you through what the trajectory has been and why perhaps a group like GUTA will be asking that this be reviewed. And also we'll take you onto the phone lines and engage some experts as well in relation to this conversation. And so since the month of January of 2025, this is cumulatively how much electricity prices have gone up. Yes, there was a reduction of some 4.81% starting from April 1, but subsequently, the latest increase, which is expected to take effect on the 1st of July, has got a lot of people talking. That 3.49%, a lot of people pretty much saying it's 3.5%. Now, if we go into the realms of water, That cumulatively stands at 17.7% because in April we saw a 3.06% reduction in terms of the tariff and also 0.85, right? 0.85%. Now, putting it all together, and I'm going to start from electricity, right? So before January of 2025, right, if you were buying 100 cedis worth of electricity, this is roughly about 20 to 30 cedis more cumulatively between then and now. But even that, you can argue it could be a bit more. But in terms of baseline numbers and being a bit charitable, you would have seen in excess of 20 plus cedis in addition to how much it costs you to get electricity at the same rate of consumption, right? And then for water, if you were doing 100 cedis a month, you should have seen 20 cedis or more as well in terms of how much it will cost you between January of 2025 up until now. And so this is where we are at in terms of the conversations, and that is what is leading the Ghana Union of Traders Association as well to say that, look, this will cost us more. It will force us to have to pass down all of this to the ordinary Ghanaian who will be the bearer of these additional costs. Meanwhile, the Institute for Energy Policies and Research is calling on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PURC, to suspend its proposed third quarter utility tariff adjustment, arguing that the increases are not supported by the Commission's own data. I want to take you over the phone lines and speak to its Executive Director, Kojo Poku, who's joining us via the phone lines this afternoon. Mr. Poku, I appreciate you joining us. You say in looking at the data, there is no support, or in looking at the justifications that's been provided by PURC, we should not be seeing an increase. They say the generation mix, which sees a lot of the power we enjoy coming from thermal energy and seeing the exchange rate increases, justifies that. How do you respond? Mr. Poku, can you hear me, please? Well, it does appear Kojo Poku cannot hear us at this point in time in the bulletin. We're working the phone lines to engage him because the argument his institute makes is that there's no justification whatsoever for a potential increase. In fact, it's been one of the many arguments that the minority has been putting forward from the legislator as well. Adumaku, who's been speaking, who is the deputy ranking on the Energy Committee as well, say that cumulatively, which is one of the many things I've been walking you through this afternoon, that we're at some 26% in terms of how much we've seen an increase in electricity, and then 17.7 in terms of how much we're seeing for water as well. They argue there is no justification for the increases that we're seeing, particularly the latest which has been announced by the PURC for electricity, which is a 3.49%. I want to try one more time and see if Kojo Poku's joined us via the phone lines. Mr. Kojo Poku, can you hear us? Well, it does appear he cannot hear us, and it will force us onto a break at this particular point in time. When we return, we'll get a bit more from him and bring you some other stories from across the country as well.
Is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the race that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the Middle Belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us, and honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Welcome back to News Central. Now, private legal practitioner Samuel Atachia has filed a motion to adjourn the judgment date against NPP Ashanti Region Chair Bernard Intwi-Wesiakon, who is also known as Chairman Wontumi, after taking over as new counsel. The date for the judgment, scheduled for July 3rd by the High Court, was set after the defense closed its case, having called on all witnesses to testify in favor of Chairman Wontumi. But before the defense could heed to orders to file written submissions, Andy Apiakubi, then lead counsel for the NPP chairman, wrote a letter notifying the court of his decision to withdraw as legal representative. Following the withdrawal of his lawyer, Chairman Wontumi, in his panic, appointed Samuel Atachia as a new lawyer, with the new counsel asking the court for time to peruse the court proceedings. Atachia also notes in his motion that the registrar of the court had not heeded to an application for the proceedings. He is therefore praying the court to extend the time for the new defense to obtain records and assess the proceedings to file written submissions ahead of the judgment. Now, Chairman Wontumi and his company, Akonta Mining, are facing charges of unauthorized assigning of mineral rights to individuals and facilitating illegal mining operations at the Samreboy concession in the Western region. Now, former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokonu has filed an application with the Supreme Court seeking a review of the court's decision and orders dated May 28, 2026, arguing that she was denied a fair opportunity to be heard before significant orders were issued in a constitutional matter affecting her. In the review application, Justice Tokonu asks the Apex Court to set aside his earlier ruling and revisit proceedings that culminated in the consolidation of two constitutional suits and the fixing of July 2nd, 2026 for judgment. According to court documents, the former Chief Justice contends that despite the panel of justices affirming that it could not assume she had been informed of the withdrawal of her legal counsel services, the matter nonetheless proceeded in her absence and without legal representation. Lord Eduasare is our court correspondent, bringing us a bit more on this story. Now, Lord, there are two important issues going on. Let's start off with Justice Tokonu seeking this fresh motion she has filed at the Supreme Court. Tell us a bit more about the motion.
Right, Kenny. And so you recall that, there was barely 24 hours since the ECOWAS court gave their judgment in relation to her matter that she had escalated there. Now, quite apart from that, again, you recall that apart from the ECOWAS court case, she has some active cases locally or in Ghana, being at the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and another at the High Court. So this particular motion, she filed it on Tuesday, 23rd, and she was seeking a judicial review, basically asking the Supreme Court to, as it were, review their decision that they made on May 28th. Now, May 28th was the day that the panel of justices decided that they're going to give a final judgment on those cases that she had filed, a number of cases, actually 4 of them, that have been filed challenging the processes that led to her eventual removal as the Chief Justice of Ghana. Now, her argument is that on 28th, her legal counsel, I should say former legal counsel at this point, because the former Attorney General, Godfrey Obadami, he was representing her in one of the cases. Now, Godfrey Obadami issued a notice of withdrawal as legal counsel to Getru Tokonu. Now, when the case was called, the Attorney General was absent himself. One of Tokonu's lawyers was present, but then other parties were also absent. And so the Apex Court dismissed the withdrawal notice of Dr. Obadami, indicating that they could not assume that he had served her notice because he was just informing the court about it. And so they directed that he immediately served her the notice of withdrawal. Nonetheless, they, however, adopted the written submissions or memorandum of issue that he had filed to support the case. Now, there are 4 cases challenging the process of her suspension and eventual removal. Among them was one filed by the old Member of Parliament, Professor Sifwa. There was another private individual who had filed. Justice Tokonu herself had filed another, and then Center for Citizenship group had also filed one. Now, after hearing the matter, the court then, in their ruling, decided to consolidate the 4 cases into 2, and then decided that they're going to do their final judgment on July 2nd. Now, the argument of Justice Tokonu is that despite the court acknowledging that the withdrawal notice filed by her former counsel, Godfrey Obadami, they, however, did not allow her a fair hearing to, as it were, for her new lawyer to file some submissions that they were going to rely on before they eventually decided to consolidate the cases and then did a date for the final judgment. This is described as unfair, and then that she wasn't given a fair hearing to the case. And so she's actually asking the courts to reverse their decision to allow her to actually give her admissions or arguments before that decision is taken, because then she indicates that when that is done, then to help the court in the case. And so this is what she's essentially asking for. Again, she notices that In as much as the court asked the former counsel to serve her the notice, the registrar served the proceedings on 12 June, although the decision of the court was made on 28 May. She asked all this and says that this does not inure to her benefit. And so this is what she's essentially asking the Apex Court to review their decision, Kennedy.
Well, that's all we have time for this afternoon. Thank you so much. Lodi Duasare is our court correspondent.
For many older Ghanaians, losing their sight is often accepted as a natural part of aging. But health experts say one of the leading causes of blindness among the elderly, cataract, is both preventable and treatable. Sarah Penkro shares the story of 65-year-old Madame Patience Owusu-Ansah, a woman whose life was transformed after regaining her sight through surgery.
As she runs through her phone, 65-year-old Patience Owusu-Ansah is enjoying simple activities she once feared she might never do again.
We have successfully purchased 50 cedis airtime from Ninde.
Few months ago, cataracts had severely affected her vision, making everyday tasks difficult and limiting her independence.
When I came me, it off cry. The one in Kelno, but ya check up now. Want the doctor? Ni check in Akeshi. Look naturally cataract. She no fear.
I went completely blind after wearing glasses for 7 years. So I went and I was told it was cataract, so they must do surgery. I was being assisted to do everything, even to make a call. It was a difficult moment.
After overcoming her fears and myths surrounding the disease, she underwent surgery on both eyes 3 months ago, and she says life has changed dramatically.
I was scared. Like when I get after cry, she not courage. She need feel me.
I was scared, but I had courage to do it, and it's been successful. It was done same day. I was so happy that I can see. I can clearly see.
The phone day no by clinic. Na die plaster. Nke mwa hu ja ke mi na ni clear, very clear. Wo ke moku ye ka ke shi e ya ni afi ba fi fine.
Madam Patience's story reflects the experience of thousands of older Ghanaians living with cataracts, a condition that remains the leading cause of blindness in the country. Cataracts occur when the eye's natural lens becomes cloudy, causing blurred vision and, if left untreated, blindness.
It's quite uncomfortable to manage, and as it gets into the progressive stage or when their vision is greatly affected, they become dependent on others in order to navigate. Aging is a common risk factor, but there are other conditions that can also predispose individuals to cataracts. Diabetes, then abuse of some drugs, steroids. Cataract could also be congenital. There are some kids who are born and at birth they have cataract. When you have cataract and you are blind, the only solution is surgery. But some people are afraid. They think their eyes are going to be removed.
According to Ghana's National Blindness and Visual Impairment Survey, cataracts accounts for more than half of all blindness cases nationwide, affecting an estimated 150,000 people, with numbers increasing annually. Despite the availability of effective treatment through surgery, misconceptions, fear, and limited access to eye care continues to prevent many people from seeking help early.
There are some places you don't have eye health services there. And also the ophthalmologists, most of them are in Greater Accra, Ashanti, that's Kumasi, Cape Coast, and there are some regions that doesn't really have ophthalmologists. NHIS covers cataract surgery, but looking at the consumable and the amount that is on the NHIS list, most facilities, if it's not under a program that is assisted by an organization, you have to do a top-up. The Ghana Health Service and quite some few NGOs in the system have seen this gap and they sponsor free cataract surgery. But if you look at the backlog of cataract cases there, it needs to be a nationalized kind of approach.
For patients and many others, restoring sight is about more than seeing clearly again. It is about reclaiming independence, dignity, and the ability to continue contributing meaningfully to family and community life. Sarah Apenkro, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, district assemblies across the Greater Accra region have begun pulling down structures believed to be situated on waterways and drainage reservations following the recent floods that hit parts of the capital city. Authorities say the exercise is necessary to protect lives, clear blocked drains, and prevent another disaster when the rains return. Joseph Armstrong Goldalugwe has the rest of the story.
The Dakobi River in the Lankwantena Madina Municipal Assembly has for years seen parts filled with sand and debris to create space for buildings and other structures. But after the recent floods that hit the capital, the Assembly says it can no longer allow such development to continue. On Wednesday, June 24, the Assembly moved in to clear the area and pull down structures said to be sitting on the waterway. Among the structures demolished was a church, as well as several buildings' foundations that had been laid close to or directly within the path of the river. Officials say the encroachment had reduced the space for water to flow freely, increasing the risk of flooding whenever there is heavy rainfall. As part of the exercise, the Dakobi River was also desilted. This is to open up the channel and allow water to flow without obstruction. The Lankwantena Madina Municipal Chief Executive Ibrahim Fila says the demolition exercise will not end here.
We are moving from here to Oyarifa, to Ghana Flag, and then gravel pits. Yes, we are going there to ensure that all those encroaching the road, waterways, will bring everything to its finality.
He says many buildings identified on waterways will be pulled down as the Assembly works to protect lives and property.
This area is a water reserve, but because of human mentality, we choose to fill it, thinking that we can do some other work over there, forgetting the problem that it will cause the other inhabitants.
But for affected persons, the demolitions comes with pain, loss, and uncertainty. Some are losing places of worship, others are losing investment they had started building. Still, authorities insist the cost of inaction will be greater if the rains return and the waterways remain blocked.
The research starts by our own psyche, our own mentality. We should psych our own mind. For instance, I'll be here. Perhaps what they are doing, demolition of things, I may not be okay with it because I've spent some capital financial support in it. But it doesn't mean that because of my financial expenditure, the wrong thing should continue.
Some residents have expressed concern over the ongoing demolitions.
Formerly, about 8 years, I came here. There's no flood to our end. But during the time they fill the reservoir where the water come and warriors for our houses.
Yeah, it will make the flood go away because if here right now, if rain fall here, you know if it pass here.
The demolition forms part of a wider push by district assemblies across the capital to clear waterways after the recent floods. Authorities say the aim is to prevent another disaster, but residents are asking for fairness, proper notice, and stronger enforcement before structures are allowed to reach this stage. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alupu TV3, Accra.
Starting off from our checks in the regions, residents of Atonsu, Kuwait in the Kumasi metropolis may finally be seeing hope after years of battling devastating floods. For nearly 8 years, heavy rains have turned parts of the community into flood zones, destroying property and disrupting livelihoods. Now, a dredging exercise is underway to restore the flow of 2 major rivers and reduce the risk of flooding after a TV3 report.
Whenever heavy rains hit Kumasi and its surrounding communities, residents of Atonsu, Kuwait brace themselves for another flood disaster. The situation, residents say, is caused by the overflowing Atonsu and Susan rivers, worsened by the indiscriminate dumping of refuse into the waterways, which obstruct the free flow of water. Over the years, several homes have been inundated, forcing families to count their losses after every major downpour. Concerned about the recurring challenge, residents have welcomed an ongoing dredging exercise aimed at desilting the rivers and improving drainage capacity.
How Cassia a day ha Afibia and Tobiano, yes, but this year, sooner I started, and you have to see Ayano. You say to me to San Amon when they say Jai, and then soon Sababy Ma, a higher dream.
Say, Adumakua and Mr. Dumako Yanua, Oba Boye, and Manimia, and Katie Winton. Your best assembly, or money, or money, or Mamma.
The intervention is spearheaded by a cybersecurity expert and philanthropist Kwame Adomako Samuel, who says the initiative is intended to provide a long-term solution to the flooding menace.
Ahead of the sudden flooding issue that occurred weeks ago after a heavy rain poured, now I came to assess the situation and I realized that it's something that I myself can help the people to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because always, if we say we are relying on government's intervention, by the time that intervention comes, there might be a tragedy we might not be able to solve. So today, I just took it upon myself to help the people here so that they will not see whatever they saw the last time the rain was so heavy here.
Residents are expressing optimism that the dredging of the Atonsu and Susan rivers will reduce flooding and bring lasting relief to the community.
Municipal Chief Executive Ebenezer Adu has ordered the operator of a car washing bay near the newly constructed Apremdo Bridge in the Western region to cease operations with immediate effect after an alarm was raised by the contractor. The bridge, which is part of a dual carriageway being developed under government's Big Push program, risks structural failure. Irama Smith has more.
Stop work immediately. Stop work immediately. Stop. Stop work. From today, don't work again. Go and bring excavator. We are coming to cut through here. And who even gave you the permit to come and work here?
The Ahanta West Municipal Chief Executive Ebenezer Adu issued the directive during a visit to the bridge following a TV3 news report that one of its spans had been blocked, affecting the free flow of the Wind River. Further inspection revealed that the opposite side of the bridge had also been backfilled, rendering the affected span unusable. Initial report has suggested that the backfilling was caused by the operator of the washing bay to aid his operations. A careful assessment, however, suggested otherwise, with the contractor being accused of undertaking the backfilling during construction works.
The eyewitnesses here are saying that when you are constructing, it is your people who put this in here and filled it. Okay.
I confronted them.
Okay.
It's not us.
Yes, but when they
you only have come to complain to the assembly.
I understand, but when they were filling this place, nobody told the assembly. Nothing. I'm getting to know of this because of the story that came.
The MCE, however, stated that he will personally see to it that all the directives given are followed through to the letter. All the necessary works needed to open up the affected bridge span also completed within a week.
We are here to fix the problem. The washing bay is a small one. We've told him to stop work. So you saw me telling them they are not going to do that from today. And then I've spoken to the consultant himself. He said that once the people leave the place, they will come and dredge the whole place and then get a thoroughfare for the river to flow.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Western Region.
The agitations and fear of losing an unborn child as a result of the poor road network after heavy rainfall in the Aurano community is finally over as contractors have returned to work. According to residents, their concern has finally been addressed. They commended the Member of Parliament for Techiman North, Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare, for fulfilling her campaign promise.
Yes, residents of Arano in the Techiman North district of the Bono East region have expressed deep frustration over the deplorable state of the only road linking the community to the town. The rough and uneven surface turned every journey into a distressing ordeal, posing serious risk to residents, particularly patient, pregnant women, and elderly. During heavy rains, the situation worsens dramatically. A critical section of the road becomes submerged, leaving residents stranded, causing long delays and heightened fears. Drivers and cyclists often refuse to use the route, further isolating the community.
So no free market mo. Ara so to market mo na chese wa uyamusho.
The road was affecting us both physically and economically.
School school
when our kids are in school and it starts to rain, we always get anxious because of the nature of the road. The dire condition of the road has reportedly been used as a campaign tool by politicians who promise solutions during election seasons but fail to deliver once the votes are counted. However, the narration has changed in 1.5 years after the 2024 elections. Residents are now not only seeing constructed gutters and bridges, but also bitumen on the road surface, bringing immense joy to them. Now that the road has been constructed, all we can say is we are grateful. May God bless our MP. But now that the road has been fixed, all we can say is we are grateful. This time last year, we were crying and calling on her to help us. And now she has responded. This is all we need from her. We are really grateful. May God bless her. According to the residents, the fears of being stranded after heavy rains are over. Motorists say they can now work all day without worrying about rains, improving their economic activities. While expressing gratitude, residents are hoping to see the longevity of the road. Meanwhile, the road is still under construction, but the fast pace of work on the road has filled the hearts of residents with joy, and in the praise of the Member of Parliament for the area, Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare. Belinda Tete, TV3 News, Arano.
The Narcotics Control Commission, in collaboration with the Ghana Police Service, has stepped up its advocacy efforts to combat illicit drug use among the youth in the Bono East region. Speaking during an anti-drug awareness campaign to mark World Drug Day, a spokesperson for NARCOC highlighted the Commission's ongoing strategic interventions in local schools.
Abuse remains a critical public health and socio-economic challenge in Ghana. Data from the Narcotics Control Commission shows an estimated 50,000 individuals explicitly recorded as misusing drugs across Ghana. Roughly 70% of these users are students from junior high, senior high, and tertiary institutions. Nationally, substance and drug abuse accounts for approximately 90% of cases admitted to major mental health institutions. Unlike coastal urban areas, middle transit zones like the Bono East region face heavy exposure due to international commercial transit routes passing through major hubs like Techiman and Kintambo. In order to curb the situation, the Regional Narcotics Control is working closely alongside guidance and counseling teachers to actively identify, screen, and counsel students who have begun experimenting with narcotics while providing professional medical referrals for advanced cases.
Over a period of time, at least when we go there, we now try the guidance and counseling teachers prefer the students who have already started using drugs, and then we try to counsel them, we screen them, and possibly if they need any referrals, we do that. So far, the schools that we are working with, at least we've seen massive improvement among some of the youth. Those who are already using it, I think somehow they are stopping and all that. So I would say it's becoming better because of the interventions that we are giving in the school.
The Regional Fire Commander, DCOP1 Naomi Edupia, expressed profound concern over the toll illicit substances are taking on the region's human capital.
People are destroying their lives because of this unwanted drugs. And this drugs is destroying the lives of our young people. They should be strong and do away with them so that they grow to become people in future.
Despite the visible progress in schools, law enforcement officials note that community-wide enforcement continues to face a major roadblock: the fear of social stigma and retaliation. Superintendent Amo Hemans of the Ghana Police Service addressed the public's reluctance to report drug peddling and criminal behaviors, emphasizing that public intelligence is critical to eradicating local syndicates.
Yeah, some people feel that when they inform the police, they will be accused by the society. So they feel reluctant to inform police. And that is a major challenge. Because if you don't know where the activities is going on, how can you go and effect arrest? So we are pleading with them that whatever you see or whatever you hear, police is an ally to you. It is a helper that will help you to, effect arrest on those people.
He assured the public that identity protection protocols remain strictly confidential, appealing to residents to view law enforcement as a community ally.
News Central returns shortly with more news. Don't go away.
Is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us, and honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3.
Before we go this afternoon, Cabinet has approved the new National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan to be rolled out from 2026 to 2030. Speaking at the Civil Society Forum at the University of Ghana, President Mahama says his belief in participatory governance remains unflinching.
And I wish to use this platform to restate my commitment to transparent and accountable governance. In my past presidency, I had the privilege of launching the 10-year National Anti-Corruption Action Plan in 2015. And I'm pleased to report to you that just yesterday, Cabinet approved the new National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan (2026 to 2030) for onward transmission to Parliament. I'm also happy to announce to you that yesterday Cabinet took a decision directing the Attorney General to draft a bill for the protection of state assets. It's called the State Assets Protection Bill. It shows the guidelines under which any state asset can be disposed, including lands, buildings, state assets, factories, industry, so that no government just capriciously disposes of state assets.
Well, that's our bulletin for you this afternoon, which came to you from our studios here on the John Hammond Street. I am Marwin Edward.
And I am Kemini Amano. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.